Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to Snam's full year 2018 results. 2018 was a very good year for Snam. We performed above our targets across the business. Our Capex plan is on track with 0.9 billion euros invested in the year. Notwithstanding tightening incentives, we've managed to almost double our non-RAB regulated revenues to 15 million euros. Our efficiency program has to date delivered 36 million euros of savings on operating costs, on track to meet our updated target of 60 million euros by 2022. Cost of debt declined to 1.5%, or a 32 million euro saving on interest charges, thanks to the continuous optimization of our financial structure. As a result of our outperformance, net income was 1.010 billion, plus 7% compared to 2017 and 35 million euros above the target that we set at the beginning of the year. As well as delivering solid financial results, in 2018 we made good progress on all of our strategic pillars. We have completed the reverse flow project with the installation of 5 new turbochargers in Minerbio Serragno and the completion of a new pipeline connecting Cervignana to Mortara. Meanwhile, we've started the engineering phase to convert our main compressing station at Malborghetto into a dual-fuel gas and electricity plant. This new investment reduces emissions and also offers valuable demand-side flexibility services to the electricity sector. A dual-fuel compressing station can use power to compress gas and cut power demand when necessary by reverting back to gas as its fuel. Given the exciting possibilities for sector coupling, we are undertaking feasibility studies for the conversion of other compressor stations. Our energy transition strategy unveiled in November is progressing faster than expected, and we see potential upside. We have closed a deal to invest around 20 million euros in a biomethane production project and have visibility on a pipeline of projects for at least another 50 million of Capex already. Meanwhile, our subsidiary Snam for Mobility delivered its first 6 refilling stations and targets 15 additional ones this year. With reference to our international activities, TAP obtained its financing at the year end for 75% of total project cost. As a result, Snam received 519 million euros of cash back at the end of the year. Over 2018, we've also consolidated our position as a leading TSO in Europe with the acquisition of DESFA that is strategically located. We have continued to create value from our financial structure, buying back a further 538 million euros of bonds and returning overall more than 1.1 billion euros to shareholders through dividends and buybacks. As you will have seen, we're seeking authorization from our upcoming AGM to cancel 74 million shares and renew our 500 million euro authorization for further opportunistic buybacks. The strong performance in 2018 confirms our track record. Tariff RAB has increased by 6% since 2016 despite very low inflation, and its sustainable long-term growth is underpinned by a 20% upgrade to our 5-year Capex plan to 5.7 billion euros. The combination of strong RAB growth, significant operational cost cuts, a 90 basis point reduction in overall cost of debt, and the share buyback, net income per share has increased by 26% over 2 years. Dividend per share increased by 8% over the same period, therefore significantly rebalancing our dividend payout ratio. In 2018, we launched Snam Tech, and we've already invested 125 million euros out of the total of 850 million in the plan. We will use new technologies to drive continuous improvement in innovation and in our core business. And furthermore, throughout 2018, we've acquired the skills that we need to reposition Snam as a global leader in renewable gas. ESG remains one of the key pillars of our strategy. Methane emissions were down 4.5% last year. We're on track on our ambitious target of reducing overall methane emissions by a quarter by 2025. Snam Institute and the Snam Foundation in 2018 have grown and are now significant levers that we use to deliver improved training to our people, and we use them to engage with our communities in a much more effective way. We apply our ESG approach also to our suppliers and to our partners. In 2018, we started the Social Supply Chain Project and the CDP Supply Chain Program. We struck over 2,000 integrity pacts with suppliers and partners. We also continue to work closely with Transparency International. I will now hand over to Alessandra for a closer look at 2018 results, and she will also give us an update on our new sustainable finance initiatives.
Thank you, Marco. Before I take you through key figures for 2019, let me remind you of the recent developments on the regulatory framework, which are milestones for this year. Since the presentation of the strategic plan in November, the authority updated the main parameters of the allowed remuneration, resulting in a WACC increase of 30 basis points for transmission and 20 basis points for storage and regasification, which is in line with our plan. The new WACC parameters will last for the next 3 years. The resolution for the fifth regulatory period for transmission business is expected by mid-March. Output-based incentive schemes to be applied to new investments from 22 onwards will be consulted during 2019, as well as specific incentive schemes to be applied to R&D projects. Finally, by the end of February, Snam will put in consultation the proposal concerning the methodology for the cost-benefit analysis to be applied to development projects. Turning now to our ongoing efficiency plan, it has delivered to date 36 million euro of savings compared to 2016, 4 million more than our internal target, and it is on track with our plan of overall savings above 60 million by 2022. Our core business costs before pass-through and one-off decreased by 1 million in nominal terms in 2019 compared to 2016, even accounting for labor cost inflation, demerger dyssynergies, and additional costs, for instance, related to network expansion, training, and variable regulated costs. EBIT in 2018 was 1,405 million euro, up 42 million euro over the same period of the prior year. This number reflects the increase in regulated revenues of 85 million, mainly due to the increase in tariff RAB, inclusion for a full year of Infrastrutture Trasporto Gas, and the ramp-up in regulated services that reached 15 million versus 8 million last year. The cost-cutting program, which I've just described, delivered a further 17 million euro of saving in 2018, essentially offsetting the merger dyssynergies for 5 million euro, increasing labor costs due to inflation, 5 million euro, and additional investments in our people, mainly training. Controllable fixed costs also include lower capitalization, some non-cash accounting items connected to the retirement plans launched in 2017 for 4 million euro, and costs related to the full year impact of Infrastrutture Trasporto Gas for 2 million euro. Depreciation and amortization increased by 31 million, reflecting a growing asset base. Other components include positive effects from the release of provision and energy costs. Net profit in 2018 was 1,010 million euro, up 70 million euro compared to last year. This was driven by the positive performance of our operations, lower net interest expenses of 32 million euro, thanks to the natural bond rollover, liability management executed in 2017, and treasury optimization carried out during the year. This, notwithstanding circa 1 billion euro of pre-funding activity executed in the second part of the year. Slightly higher year-on-year contribution from associates, mainly due to an impairment charge taken in 2017 by Interconnector, which was partially offset by lower contribution from storage in France, which has become, though regulated and is therefore a much lower risk business, as well as TESFA transaction costs. Taxes in 2018 were up 13 million due to higher pre-tax profit. The tax rate declined to 26.2% on earnings before tax, including associates, versus 26.9% in 2017. Net profit was 10 million higher than our guidance, thanks to a better than expected contribution from auto-based incentives, cost efficiencies, and interest charges. Cash flow from operation was 1,826 million euro, thanks to the solid net profit and positive working capital of 193 million euro, which includes 137 million euro due to overcharging and penalties for exceeding committed capacity, both reimbursed over the coming years, 25 million euro due to cash in from the equalization fund that will be repaid to shippers in the first quarter of 2019, and 17 million euro due to next tax payable. The strong cash flow generation covered Capex, financial investments, the payment on the interim and final dividend, and 426 million of buyback, leading to a net debt at year-end of 11.5 billion. As a reminder, financial investments include 187 million cash call from TAP, 119 million of debt acquisition, 40 million for our new businesses acquisitions, and the benefit of the TAP true-up of 519 million. This result is slightly better compared to our latest guidance because of the higher than expected TAP true-up and retain working capital benefit that will mainly reverse in 2019. Our net debt guidance for 2019 is therefore confirmed at 11.7 billion. Our average cost of debt in 2018 was 1.5% versus 2% in 2017, thanks to the bond rollover of the 3.875% 850 million euro bond, which expired in March, with new funding of circa 1 billion with a 5-year tenor and an average coupon of 1%. The strong treasury management effort, including the recent 1 billion commercial paper program, utilized for 225 million euro at year-end at negative cost. Regarding the gross debt breakdown, at December 2018, the fixed rate portion was 78%, in line with our 2018 quarter fixed versus floating ratio guidance. Maturity profile is well spread over time, also thanks to the circa 4 billion liability management exercises executed since 2016. On sustainable finance, as discussed, in early November, Snam finalized the conversion of its 3.2 billion banking facilities into a sustainable loan, with margin increase-decrease linked with a set of climate change and social KPIs assessed by an independent sustainability consultant and underwritten by 19 international banks. This is the third largest sustainable loan in the world and the first executed by a gas utility company. In early November, we also published our Climate Action Bond Framework, the document setting the rules for the issuance of climate action bonds, and presented it to fixed income investors in February as a part of a non-deal roadshow in Europe. Finally, in January 19, Snam has signed 135 million euro financing with EIB with a fixed rate of 1.4% and 20 years maturity. Thanks to all of these actions, coupled with the liability management completed in December, the pre-hedging activity to limit P&L volatility and debt capital market pre-funding, we're able to maintain also for 2019 a guidance of 1.5% for our cost of debt with room for improvement. Thank you, and I pass over to Marco.
Thanks, Alessandra. Thank you, Alessandra. The strong progress we're making on our strategy allows us now to upgrade our guidance for 2019 to 5% net income growth, up from our previous guidance of 4%, starting off a higher base. About half of the improvement comes from the new regulated revenues, and the other half comes from additional operational and financial efficiencies that we've identified. This translates into an EPS guidance of 32.1 euro cents, excluding treasury shares. To sum up, Snam today is in a stronger position than ever before. We are continuing to invest in our best-in-class operational capabilities in our core business. At the same time, we're pursuing attractive investment opportunities in the energy transition, underpinning strong growth and superior returns to shareholders. Thank you for your attention this afternoon. Alessandra and I will now be pleased to answer your questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. May I remind you, if you wish to ask a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone and wait for your name to be announced. Please stand by while we compile the Q&A queue. This will only take a few moments. If you wish to cancel your request, please press the hash key. Once again, that is star 1 if you wish to ask a question. And we do have questions coming through. The first question comes from the line of Enrico Bartoli from MainFirst. Your line is open, sir. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for taking my questions. I have three of them. First of all, the first one is related to the discussions that have been going on at European level in the recent months regarding the EastMed project. Could you update, let's say, your expectations that actually this can go through? And can you elaborate on, obviously, on a qualitative base on the opportunities that you think that Snam could have from the project, both in Italy and in Greece? A second question is related to the buyback program. If I'm right, you still have around 200 million euros to reach the $500 million target from the past program. Could you confirm that actually this will go on in 2019? If I understood well, you are going to cancel around 70 million shares. If this is, in your opinion, a policy that the company will continue to implement in terms of having some value created for the shareholders. And the last one is related to the Capex. You are giving this guidance about 1 billion in terms of Capex for this year. Can you give us a split on the regulated ones and the part that is going to be deployed for your new activities? Thank you.
Thank you. I will answer the first two, and then maybe Ale, you can take the Capex question. On the EastMed, this project has been on the cards for several years now. Certainly there has been a lot of new gas discovered in the Eastern Mediterranean region. Certainly, when I say that DESFA is strategically located, it's because of its proximity to that area, which inevitably will be a part of the world where new gas will continue to be discovered and new gas will flow into Europe. The exact timing of any of these projects, because there are several options, I think, will be driven by the ongoing exploration activity that is happening in the area. There are several options for the Egyptian, the Israeli, the Cypriot gas to come to Europe, and I think various options are being studied. Hopefully, by integrating the Italian and the Greek market, Snam will be able to play a role in that part of the world when some of these opportunities arise, and we are looking at several options, but I would say that none of them is in the pre-FID or even pre-analysis phase. So I think it will be a while before we see any of these becoming real investment opportunities, and I think the timing, as I mentioned, will be a function of the exploration activity. On the buyback, you're absolutely right. We have still around 200 million to go. We will cancel about 74 million shares. The reason we are asking for further approval, even if we haven't exhausted the previous one, is because every time we go through an AGM, I think it's good to keep order and have more buffer. None of our targets include any additional buyback for 19 and beyond. So on the buyback, we will continue not to give specific targets and maintain an opportunistic approach. On the Capex, I would leave you the details. I would say it's mostly regulated, with the exception maybe of 30 to 40 million, but please go ahead.
You said it is around 40 million what we are targeting for 2019 on non-regulated, so the new businesses. But as said by Marco during the presentation, we see room for upside, having identified already approximately 50 million of target in the biomethane space.
Thank you.
Thank you. May I remind you again, ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to ask a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad. The next question comes from the line of Manuel Oggioni from Banca Akros. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, and thank you for taking my question. I have two. The first one is related to DESFA, if there is some update as regards the new WACC, the new allowed return for DEFSA. And the second one is related to the Sardinia methanization. If you could provide some update as regards the Capex timeline and also the impact in terms of RAB for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Manuel. The WACC discussion with the regulator in Greece is ongoing. I expect it to be completed by the end of April, so I think it's early to give any precise guidance, but I don't expect any bad news coming from that front. On Sardinia, I think the gap between the current cost of GPL and natural gas is so significant that the methanization in one way or the other will happen. I think the authorizations are ongoing, so I think the discussion is more on the timing and on the exact type of methanization, exactly what infrastructures will be needed. But I think the approvals on that project are progressing.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question comes from the line of Stefano Gamberini from Equita. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. A few questions, if I may. First of all, regarding the Capex in the energy transition, you have this 200 million euros for the next 4 years, but you said that you have new opportunities in biomethane. So could you just spend a few words if we can expect some update on this direction, and what could be the potential growth on biomethane in terms of new investment that you can expect in forthcoming years? The second, regarding the Capex trend, you spend this figure of 1 billion euros Capex this year. Could we expect a strong acceleration in 2020, considering your target of 5.7 billion euros by 2022? And the last question regarding, you said you will use the buyback in an opportunistic way. If I'm not wrong, you should have 1 to 2 billion euros of financial flexibility on top of your target in the business plan. What are your main targets in terms to use this financial flexibility, considering also your ability to finance at very low cost your debt? Many thanks.
Okay, thank you, Stefano. So we now have 100 million of Capex in the 5 years for biomethane and an additional Capex after the plan. What Alessandra said is we see a richer pipeline, and because we are targeting in the plan around a 5% market share, I think there's upside room on there. I think it's early days to put a number, but we will be able to do that in the course of the plan. The 5.7 billion, of course, there's 1 billion in year one, and there's a progression and a ramping up later on that. Regarding the financial flexibility, I would confirm the strict investment criteria that we've set out in the strategic plan, and so I think those continue to apply. Just as a reminder, we want to maintain the current credit rating metrics and the risk profile. Any investment we do will need to be accretive on a risk-adjusted returns basis compared to what we would get on an Italian regulated return, and any investment would need to enhance the value of our existing infrastructure, and this is all laid out in our plans. So I would say that metric continues to apply.
Many thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, there is *1 if you wish to ask a question. And we have another question. The question comes from the line of Sarah Piccinini from Mediobanca. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, and thanks for taking my question. I have a question on the next regulatory review for the fifth period. If you can provide an indication on the timing of the consultation document and the final decision from the regulator. If I'm not wrong, you were mentioning a consultation document by mid-March, and also your expectations on the possible changes. So the beta should remain unchanged as your expectation. Is this included in your assumption of the business plan? And if you can give any indication on any other possible changes in your view. Thank you.
Thank you, Nasara. So we expect the final delibera to be available around the middle of March. And regarding the beta, I think the best expectation is to assume it's flat. I think if we look at the numbers, as we've said before, there could be room, theoretical room for an upside, just doing some benchmarking as we've done. But I think the best guidance at this point is to keep it flat.
Many thanks.
Thank you. The next question comes from the line of Yuri Zanieri from Kempen. Your line is open. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, and thanks for taking my question. Only one question on my side. Referring to the memorandum of understanding that you signed late last year with State Grid and Beijing Gas, I was just wondering if you can provide some colors, if we can expect some outcomes coming this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Murray, for this question. I think China, as you all know, is a very attractive growth market for natural gas. The penetration of gas is going to increase significantly. The MOUs that we are signing are the beginning of relationships aimed at bringing and exporting into China some of our distinctive knowledge and know-how. And I think this applies to areas such as storage, such as CNG, such as small-scale LNG, and in particular the know-how we've acquired with the company Yes in biomethane. So there's a number of discussions that are ongoing. We have no rush to do things faster than would naturally be the case. I think this is part of this relationship we have with State Grid, also because of their shareholding in Snam, and using this relationship to see if we can develop profitable opportunities in the Chinese market, which itself is very attractive. These could go from very commercial opportunities, such as licensing some of our technology for biomethane, to something a little more strategic around the sustainable mobility and other areas that we're investing in.
Thank you. If I can just follow up on that, where do you actually see the most interesting opportunity coming from? Within, I don't know, like developing infrastructure or small-scale LNG. Just some extra color would be much appreciated.
Look,
thanks.
I think the market is going to go from around 200 billion cubic meters today. I think it's around 270. So this is a market that was smaller than the Italian market when I started working in the gas sector not so long ago. Today it's a market of 270 billion cubic meters, and I think it's projected to exceed 600 billion cubic meters. So there's a lot of opportunities in all aspects of the natural gas value chain. There are particular opportunities in storage, where Snam has a global leading capabilities, and where the Chinese market is very short in storage. I think their storage covers around 3% of demand. Just to give you an example, in Italy we have above 20% of demand. So I think there's a lot of need for infrastructure investments in storage, in natural gas mobility, that has the huge advantage of not only costing less than conventional fuels, but also getting rid of particulate, which, as you know, is a big issue in China. And I think they also have a lot of waste that they are eager to convert into sustainable energy, and so biomethane is potentially very attractive, as well as small-scale LNG as an alternative to pipeline, also for uses in country. So the opportunity is very big. I don't want to be misleading. I think we take it one step at a time. It's important to get these big players to understand our skills, our capabilities, and hopefully over time some of these will turn into opportunities. As a note, I would say that we are already receiving some, I call them nominal revenues, in the sense that we are already being paid by some of these Chinese companies for some services that we're offering and some training that we're offering to them. So the trend is constructive and positive. Thank you.
Okay. If one last follow-up, I may. If I'm not mistaken, you should in the agreement you should have you mentioned that there might be some collaboration and the optimization of the network also in Australia and Portugal. Can you provide any color on that as well?
No. So here it's about investments that one of the counterparts that you mentioned already has. And so the idea is to share best practices and see if there are any synergies and opportunities. This is linked to our Snam Global Solutions business. That is the one that's currently generating some small revenues in China.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we have another request from the line of Riccio Bartoli from MainFirst. Your line is open, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Sorry, a quick follow-up. I have a question regarding the evolution of working capital. You highlighted in slide 12 this almost 200 million euros improvement. If you can repeat the details of the drivers of this, and if in your 11.7 billion guidance you have any assumption in terms of further evolution of working capital in 2019. And lastly, just a confirmation, I guess that the guidance does not include any cash out for buyback, if you can just confirm that. Thank you.
Okay, so I confirm it does not include any additional buyback. I'll let to you for the working capital.
Yeah, the 200 million that you mentioned are made of 137 million related to overcharging and penalties, 25 million due to cash in from equalization fund. Both of these items will revert over the coming years, and 17 million due to net tax payable. So these are the key phenomena that we saw. And as I said before, this balance out when it comes to natural working capital was supposed to be paid at the end of 2018 and will revert in the first month of 2019. That's a relatively smaller amount, and this other amount will in part be revolved in 2019 and in part in the following year.
Okay, sorry, just to be clear, just on the 25 million, which is going to have an impact on 19. For the rest, you assume impact is zero.
I think that the overall benefit that you will have in 2019 is among different items, and this is including not only what we had in 2018 versus at the beginning and the cash flow, but also we're trying to give you an explanation of how the guidance was improved. The guidance was improved for approximately 80 million or so, which will revert effectively in 2019.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, that's star and one if you wish to ask a question. The next question comes from the line of Arthur Sitbon from Morgan Stanley. Your line is open, sir. Please go ahead.
Hello, thanks for taking my question. I would just have a quick question on cost. Basically, I was wondering if you could provide more details on the underlying reasons of the increase in cost savings you're seeing, and also if you could give guidance for OPEX excluding pass-through in 2019. Thank you.
Ale, do you want to take this question?
Yeah. I think as we discussed in the plan, we are expanding the scope of our OPEX efficiencies, simply trying to be leaner and being much more effective and making make or buy choices on a larger perimeter. So the reason why this is effectively the reason why we went from from the original 50 million to the 60 million we announced in November, and we are now having that as a guideline. So the improved results that we have achieved today is just an anticipation, so to speak, of a fact that we thought originally would have taken a little bit longer. So we are trying to be as fast as we can to achieve those targets. So there is no change vis-a-vis what we said before. In the slide, we describe some of the actions which are completed and relate, as you can see, on a number of different things. Is automation, is insourcing, is reorganizing our dispatching and operational activities in a way that makes us more efficient. Some of the costs that we describe in the slide, of course, are part of recognized costs. So we also are including in the overall effect that we describe on slide 9 the growing perimeter and growing asset base that, of course, brings costs up. But that's something that is neutral because it's also part of our revenues. So it's, in a way, something that is not part of our efficiency plan, of course. Sorry, what was the other question?
It was on if you have a guidance for OPEX excluding pass-through for 2019.
Overall, you can assume on 2018 numbers that is in the 60 to 70 million, the number that you can net.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I would now like to hand the conference back to Mr. Alvera for closing remarks. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay. If there's no more questions on the line, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. And as always, we're available for any follow-on questions through our investor relations department. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.